Okay, I thought there might be some interest in what I'm using for making my videos. So I'm going to do a quick overview, and I will include Amazon links for those things that I could find Amazon links for, maybe other links for other things, but let's get started. So here it is, this cobbled together wooden keyboard tray that I'm also been using as a test bed for figuring out how my router works, which is why there's a big giant gash in the middle. I use gel pens for all my writing. I've actually had a lot of difficulty with these Papermates getting a little bubble in their inkwell and stop working, so I'm not really sure what's up with that, but as you can see, pad of paper. So on the wocks themselves, I actually use this thing, which is actually the arm of a Joby Gorilla Pod. I'll show you this little mini tripod that you can strap onto things, but it came with two arms. I've actually taken one of the arms and then attached the actual phone mount onto that, just to give me just something to hold on to, especially in the winter when I'm wearing giant, ridiculous space gloves to not freeze to death. That's very useful. So my camera is just a Logitech Stream Cam. As you can see, this is also where all my D&D stuff is, or at least all my 5th edition D&D stuff. Microphone is a Blue Yeti, and then I had to get a pop filter because I was getting tons of popping when I was recording without it. Monitors are Asus monitors. I don't actually even remember what the computer is. Headphones are these Jabra Evolve headphones. They are fine, but you can see that they are also coming apart. They are actually the headphones that I kept from Bioware because they're all covered in my ear goo and no one wanted that. Okay, a late addition from the edit bay again. I realized that, of course, I was filming with my phone. The other thing that I use for these videos is an iPhone. It's an iPhone XR, so not the latest top of the line phone, but it gets the job done. It's got pretty decent motion canceling for the walking. It actually smooths it out pretty nicely. I've noticed that when it gets cold, it starts to act a little weird. The operating specifications for the iPhone only actually are rated down to freezing, and I've used it at minus 40 degrees Celsius, which is also minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit for those of you that don't know. That's the one complaint I have about it. I've thought about getting a GoPro. I haven't pulled the trigger on that as of yet. That's pretty low down on my priority list at the moment. And then let's talk software. So as most of you probably know, I actually use PowerPoint for doing a lot of my graphics. And I'll show you the reason why I actually use PowerPoint, why I actually went to the trouble of buying a copy of PowerPoint, even while the channel itself is not really making very much money, and at the time was making no money. And the reason why I use this over Google Slides primarily is because, well, one, I'm way more familiar with PowerPoint than Google Slides, but the other thing is that PowerPoint supports morphs. Google Slides does not. Let me show you why I like morphs. So here's, I'm going to make this big. So if I just have a PowerPoint like this, and I go ahead and duplicate this slide, or just ran into the window, and then I just go like so, and do this, and then I put a morph in. You can see that the morph will actually handle a large percentage of your animation on its own. You can just duplicate the slide, move things where you need them to be, and the morph will actually handle a lot of its own. It also will do that on 3D models if you want to put 3D assets into your presentations, which I haven't done yet, but it will do that as well. And honestly, that simplifies the animation of a lot of things. It can be a little brittle, and it can break pretty easily if it gets confused. It can't tell that this is, like, if I put a bunch of different boxes on the screen, it can't tell them apart, and it will just morph as quickly as it can between the two, so it can sometimes kind of go wrong in that case, but I still find it immensely useful. For making my thumbnails, I use GIMP, which I don't really like. I definitely don't like its name, but I actually just find it awkward. I'm more familiar with PowerPoint, or sorry, I'm much more familiar with Photoshop, and I'm just finding it kind of awkward to use. It more than meets the needs that I have, so it's fine, and it is free, so I guess you get what you pay for on this one. Maybe people can get into the comments and tell me I'm using it wrong, but it's fine. It does what I need it to do, and that's all I'm looking for, and Photoshop is pretty expensive. And then for video editing, I use Davinci Resolve. So Davinci Resolve is free as well and is arguably the most fully featured video editing software I've ever used. I find it actually more featured than Premiere, which I'm a little bit familiar with. It is used professionally by some studios, and it includes Fusion, which is their special effects suite. I don't know how to use that at all, but just for pure editing, it is more than what I need, and it is also free. I find it very useful. The company that makes Davinci Resolve sells hardware peripherals to speed up your editing. I do not own one of those, but it's certainly been on my list of potential acquisitions at some point, just to make the editing process a little smoother. Okay, apparently I don't have this set up to capture audio unless I have the webcam on it, so we'll figure that out later. For stock footage, for pictures, I just use Pexel. Pexel is free. It's relatively limited. If you get in here, it is often pushing you towards iStock, because I don't know if they're owned by iStock or if they're sponsored by iStock, but a lot of times if you search for something a little weird, you're going to get no results, or you're going to get 1 or 2 results, and then everything else is going to be iStock. But for thumbnails, which is mostly what I use it for, it's pretty good. It's good enough for the most part. I've sometimes used these pictures in my videos themselves, either as overlays or as animated through movements. That doesn't take you very far. For videos, I actually use ArtGrid. I don't know if you remember all of the ArtGrid advertising that was hitting maybe about a year ago. I didn't do a ton of research before signing up for ArtGrid. ArtGrid is a subscription, so you pay monthly or by the year. I actually pay by the year. It's pretty good. It's got a lot more of this kind of footage, which is sort of in the real world, people doing stuff footage, and less of the stuff that you see on some of the other footage sites where it's just guy looking exasperated in front of a green wall. Honestly, I probably would have more use to that more generic emotion-driven stuff. Storyblocks is the one that's used by a lot of the big YouTubers, and it can also be done with a subscription. I think it's about twice as expensive as ArtGrid. So ArtGrid gets the job done for me. It can be frustrating on occasions because if you look up pirates, you're not going to get very much, but it does okay. And then for the audio, I actually just use the stuff that's actually provided with the Creator Studio, which is a whole bunch of music that YouTube has the rights to. It includes some that's stuff in the Creative Commons and some that's just unrestricted, and also they have sound effects. A lot of the music is pretty low instrumentation. It's quite mechanical, electronic sounding, which can be fine. I'm usually using it very quiet behind everything else just to kind of round out the soundscape, so it more than meets my needs. But there's a lot of stuff in here, thousands I think of different songs. If you really need specific pieces of music, then this isn't going to get the job done. But I mean, I did search for Old Lang Syne, and it had 6 different versions of Old Lang Syne, which are the actual songs. So a song, if you're looking for a song that's in the public domain, probably in here. And this is free if you have a YouTube creator account. I know no one's asked for this video, but you know, it's close to Black Friday, and maybe you have someone in your life that wants to get into videos. I just wanted to show you that getting started doesn't require really any special hardware. I already owned the video camera. I bought the Jobby attachment, but several of my early videos were recorded without that. You can certainly get started without that. If you're looking to get into video creation, you can do it for close to $0. You probably already have a phone, which is probably got a good enough camera to let you film. If you have a decent computer, Davinci Resolve will run on it pretty well. It needs quite a bit of memory, but otherwise it's not too bad. You don't need PowerPoint. That's just a thing I use because it's something I'm familiar with. So you can get away with probably the things you already own to get yourself started. And then as things move on, maybe you get yourself a ring light, which I don't have, or you get a better camera, or you get custom microphone, you get yourself a Blue Yeti, or you upgrade as you find that you need to. But you can find something that you can make thumbnails with. Davinci Resolve is excellent, and the free Google software will probably fill in the rest of the gaps in your needs from a software perspective. So if you've been thinking about getting started, or if you know someone that's been thinking about doing something, honestly, you can do it pretty cheap. As I said, I'll link the things that I use down in the description. If you want to click on one of the affiliate links and buy something, I would appreciate it, but I don't really think you need to. You know, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time was right now. So if you're thinking of getting into becoming a creator, I would say jump in with both feet. I wouldn't say there's a lot of money here, but no time like the present. Anyway, a special thanks to my members. They provide the resources necessary to keep this channel running. If you're interested in becoming a member, I'll have a link down in the description. I will also link Amazon affiliate links for as much of this stuff as I can, not on any of the software, but all the hardware. If you click on one of those links and buy the product, then I get a little bit of money. Shouldn't change the price of the product at all. I'm gonna actually bump a video for this video just to get it kind of close to Black Friday. I will see you again soon. Thank you.